Welcome to 1 Year in Project Zomboid Survival Challenge. In this series, I'll be navigating the treacherous world of the undead for an entire year, with each episode covering 20 days of survival. In this first episode, I start from scratch, battling against the odds to gather supplies, build a base, and fend off the relentless zombies. Join me as I recount the trials and tribulations of my first 20 days in this unforgiving landscape. The journey begins here, in the quiet, eerie streets of Rosewood. After spawning in, I quickly searched the starting house, but it didn't have much to offer. No weapons, just the basic essentials. With nothing to defend myself, I knew I had to act fast. So, I made my way straight to the fire station. It's one of the best early game spots in Rosewood, offering solid defenses and a good chance at finding weapons and tools. If you're quick, you can reach it before the zombies start swarming. As I made my way toward the fire station, something caught my eye. A zombie with a military backpack, or at least I thought so. Finding one on the first day would be a huge advantage, so I couldn't just let it go. I told myself I had to track it down. I searched up and down the street, but no matter how hard I looked, the zombie had vanished, like a ghost. What I did find, though, was a '93 Ford with the keys still in the ignition and in drivable condition. It didn't have any gas, but that's something I'll make a note of for later. Finding a working vehicle this early on is a game changer. It's just a matter of fueling it up. I ended up finding a school bag, which would have to do for now. But the problem was, the zombie wasn't alone. He brought a few friends along. Fighting off 4 zombies at once wasn't easy, so I had to think fast and pull off a quick maneuver to avoid getting overwhelmed. I'm using an auto-smoking mod, and when I don't have cigarettes or a lighter in my inventory, I receive messages like this. By the time I reached the fire station, I was already tired and had too many zombies on my tail to handle them without any weapons. I decided to try to lose them around the fire station and take them out one by one. This is what fighting while exhausted looks like. I added some decoration to the walls, but it doesn't matter much since the fire station won't be my permanent base. I plan to stay here for a couple of nights before moving on to build a more secure home. After taking out a couple more zombies in the area, I finally decided to get some sleep. The next day began with some life and living shows, which helped me gain a level in cooking and carpentry. I properly looted the place and sorted my supplies, but day 2 was fairly quiet overall. After clearing out the remaining zombies in the area, I went back to read some magazines, including Foraging Volume 1. I also managed to gain a level in farming while catching up on life and living. My goal for the next day was to loot the police station. However, when I stepped outside, I found a horde of zombies had migrated in front of the fire station, so I had to clear them out first. I also managed to level up my axe skill during the fight. On top of that, I gained a level in Lightfoot as well. I decided to hold off on taking any guns for now. It felt too early for that. Instead, I just checked what was in there for later. I will never get used to this sound. While I was checking for cars in the police station parking lot, I spotted a well-dressed zombie. Finally, I found my military backpack. After that, I returned to the fire station, where I took some time to read a few magazines. I whipped up a nice meal to refuel before calling it a night. It felt good to unwind after a long day of looting and fighting. The next day was all about finding a car. It was time to leave the fire station and start moving toward my permanent base. Of course, as always, I had to fight off zombies along the way. I came across a few cars in good condition, but none of them had keys, and I didn't yet have the skills to hotwire them. However, I did find a truck with plenty of gas. Now all I needed was a gas can so I could fuel up the Ford I found back on day one. Luckily, I found a wrecked blue Volvo with a gas can in the trunk, and exactly 1 unit of fuel in the gas tank. Hopefully that would be enough to get the Ford running and drive it back to the truck. I quickly refueled the Ford and made my way back to the fire station. After clearing out the zombies that had followed me, I took a moment to catch my breath and sort through my supplies. With the day coming to an end, I knew I was ready for what came next. Tomorrow was going to be a big step forward in my survival plan. I woke up early around 4 in the morning, and got myself ready for the journey ahead. I caught an episode of Life and Living, which gave me another level in cooking. By the time the clock neared 7, I was packed up and on my way. My destination was the local school. Fighting zombies in the school playground, I leveled up my sneaking skill, one step closer to moving more quietly through the chaos. Once I made sure the area was clear, I headed straight to the library. I sorted through all the bookshelves, grabbing every skill book and magazine I could find. It ended up taking me longer than I expected, but the knowledge was worth it. By the time I was finished, it was already late, and I was exhausted and extremely encumbered from all the books and magazines I'd collected. I couldn't climb over the fence. I was just too worn out. I tried stuffing myself with food and vitamins for an energy boost, but it didn't help. Every failed attempt only made me more exhausted. Going around the fence wasn't an option either, as there were too many zombies nearby. I decided to spend the night in the school and try again in the morning. I failed again. I tried the food and vitamins trick, but just like before, each attempt only made me more tired. Then, I got the idea to split my load and make multiple climbs. And it worked. Looking back, I realize I should have tried this the night before. It would have saved me a lot of trouble. After some driving stunts, I was finally back at the fire station. I spent the rest of the day relaxing in front of the TV and reading. Thanks to Life and Living, I managed to gain a level in trapping, making the downtime productive. I spent the next 3 days indoors reading books and magazines. It turned out to be a smart decision because on day 7, the helicopter event happened and I was nowhere in sight. It wasn't part of the plan, but it worked out perfectly since the helicopter wouldn't affect me, or at least, that's what I thought at the time. While I was reading on day 9, I heard some disturbing noises that I knew I had to check out. I noticed some broken windows, but I couldn't recall if they had been like that before. My side door was wide open. Had I forgotten to close it, or had the zombies learned how to open doors? When I checked, I only found one zombie outside. Was that all? Then I remembered that my Life and Living show was on, so I quickly ran upstairs to catch it. And believe me, while I was watching that zombie through the window, I didn't even notice the creep that had snuck into my living room. It wasn't until I walked straight toward it that I got jump scared. I don't know how he got in, but I know how he got out. I proceeded to check the place room by room and around the perimeter to avoid any surprises like that. Once I was sure it was clear, I returned to my reading. By the time I finished, this is how my skills looked. The next day, I finished foraging Volume 2 and dismantled all the watches and other electronics to boost my electrical skill. Tomorrow, I'd finally leave the fire station and head out to build my new permanent base. I gathered some essentials and decided to use spears to clear the area. So, I went outside to craft a few. When I tried to craft the spears, I couldn't. I didn't understand why at first, so I figured maybe the logs needed to be sawed into planks first. I went back inside to grab a saw. I sawed the logs, got the planks, and still couldn't craft a spear. So, I finally checked the crafting menu to figure out what I was doing wrong. Turns out, I still hadn't found a knife, and here I was on day 10. That was pretty embarrassing. I marked this day as a complete waste of time. First, I didn't manage to gain a level in electronics despite dismantling all those devices. And then I spent hours struggling to craft a spear without a knife. Frustrated, I called it a night at 9 p.m. to get up early. Tomorrow is moving day. I woke up at 4 the next morning and got straight to business. No more delays. Today was the day I'd finally move out. This is it. The gas station at the north entrance of Rosewood. I'll use the gas station building as a temporary base, but the plan is to build my own base from scratch here. This spot is perfect for a few reasons. First, the most obvious, infinite gas. Second, the place is stocked with junk food, which will help me get rid of my underweight trait quickly. Plus, it's right on the edge of town, practically on the highway, making future travel between towns much easier. But first, I need to clear out the zombies. I managed to level up both my axe and Lightfoot skills to level 2 during the zombie clear-out. I took a break to dismantle some watches I had gathered, and I finally hit level 1 in electricity.
So, back to it.
I felt the place was pretty much clear. Along the way, I got a hunting knife from a zombie. It was in awful condition, but it would do for now. I planned to make spears tomorrow. Since I had woken up early and spent most of the day fighting, I felt exhausted, but it was still too early to sleep. So, I looted the place and then trained my mechanics and tailoring skills. Before heading to bed, I went to the bathroom to clean myself of all the blood, but that's when I noticed the water had shut off. Okay, no washing today. There's still plenty of water around, but it's time I started thinking about more permanent solutions. The next day, I was off again. To build a base, I needed plenty of wood, so I headed back to the opposite side of town, to the construction site. Along the way, I stopped at the fire station to gather the ropes I had left there and to finally craft those spears from the planks I had failed with before. Crafting the spears helped me level up in carpentry. But it also broke my knife in the process. I'll keep repairing the knife whenever I need spears until I find a new one. This decent-sized group of zombies will be an excellent opportunity to test out the spears. Yes, they break easily, but they're also powerful and cheap to make. They always have that chance for a one-hit insta-kill. Once I level up in both spears and maintenance, these spears will be perfect. Anyway, after that, I took down 30 more zombies and broke almost all my spears in the process. I looted the barracks but found nothing interesting. Finally, I went to grab what I had come here for, the logs. I decided to spend the night at the firehouse. I was too exhausted from fighting and carrying logs, and I remembered seeing a lot of zombies near the gas station when I left. I would probably have to deal with them when I returned. But for now, the fire station was closer, plus I still had room in my trunk to bring some loot back to the gas station. The next day, I headed back, ready to finally start building my base. Then it hit me. I hadn't found a single nail yet. So, I made a little detour to loot some garages in search of nails. I ended up near what I call the alarm house. In every playthrough, whenever I try to enter this house, the alarm goes off. I don't know if it's some kind of fixed event for this particular house or just my bad luck, but it always happens. So, I make a point to avoid it. I found 4 boxes of nails, which will do for now. I need to be more careful with my driving though, since I'm still not skilled enough to hotwire cars. This Ford is the only vehicle I've got at the moment, so I can't afford to lose it. I parked the Ford at the construction site, and then lured the nearby zombies away to make sure they wouldn't ruin my building grounds. Just as I was about to start building, I realized I've left all my hammers back at the firehouse. One of these days I'll need to transfer all my supplies to the new base, and stop wasting time driving back and forth. Frustrated, I went back inside, read some magazines, did a bit of tailoring training, and then called it a night. I got up early, headed back to the fire station, and finally brought back the hammers. I wasn't going to waste any more time. I reached carpentry level 4 and decided to stop working for the day. I wanted to read Carpentry Volume 3 before continuing, so that's exactly what I did, after squeezing in a little mechanics training. I woke up early and encountered this strange zombie completely ignoring me, like an angry wife giving the silent treatment. It was interesting to see just how far they could migrate in such a short time. I've pretty much finished what I planned for the first floor, but to start on the second floor, I need carpentry level 6 to build stairs. I'm still only at level 4, and even level 5 feels far off. I need to find a way to grind some carpentry XP. The next day, I semi-organized my supplies into the kitchen counters I built the day before and headed straight to the nearby pizza place. After looting everything useful, I proceeded to dismantle everything I could find. After that, I went to Spiffo's next door and did the same, looted what I could and dismantled the rest. I also managed to level up my spear skill in the process. I finally reached level 5 in carpentry, but it took me until 2 AM to finish dismantling Spiffos. That made me sleep in the next day, and I didn't wake up until 1 PM. Since it was too late to start any major project, I decided to take it easy for the day and fix my sleeping schedule. I organized my stuff and then headed over to the local mechanics shop and food market. I wasn't planning to loot anything since I don't have much space. I've got plenty of food, and I don't need car parts just yet. They're close by anyway. While I was there, I figured I'd clear out the zombies from both places. The fighting took longer than expected, but I found plenty of ice cream, perfect for helping me overcome my underweight trait, as I'm currently at 67 kilograms. I'll leave it in the freezer for now so it doesn't spoil. So much for fixing my sleep schedule. I ended up going to bed at 1 a.m. On day 18 I was back on the road driving through town searching for a good place to loot and train carpentry. I ended up near the alarm house again. The area was a lot quieter now, with fewer zombies around, thanks to my previous efforts clearing it out. I fully looted one of the nearby houses, taking everything of value. Inside, I dismantled whatever I could, furniture, electronics, you name it. I even disassembled a large bed, planning to take it back with me to improve my base setup. Before I left, I wanted to put my theory about the alarm house to the test. I cleared out a few nearby zombies, leveling up my maintenance skill in the process. Dismantling their watches also gave me a level in electrical skill. With the area nearly cleared, I figured if I triggered the alarm, I could handle whatever came my way. If it got overwhelming, I'd just bail. At first, it felt manageable, but as things escalated, I quickly decided it was best to retreat. I've read some magazines I found and went to bed early. I was still far from reaching carpentry level 6, so the next day I focused on gaining more experience. I started adding various features to the base that I hadn't originally planned, purely for the extra XP. Each build brought me a little closer to my goal. After using up all the planks, I decided it was time to head back to the fire station and retrieve the loot I had stored there. It was a good opportunity to bring everything back to the base and make sure I had all the supplies I needed. When I arrived at the fire station, I noticed that a few zombies had made their way to the front. And while I was looting their bodies and focused on managing my inventory, I got a friendly reminder that I need to be more careful in the future. I gathered everything I had stored at the fire station and loaded up my truck. It took a few trips back and forth, and most of the day was spent hauling the loot. Once everything was back at the base, I went straight to bed. The next day I was jolted awake by the sound of the electricity shutting off. I paused for a moment to think about what this meant. I hadn't found a generator yet, but I realized I was still in decent shape. My food was all non-perishable, so no worries there. My truck had plenty of gas, so that was covered too. The lack of lights at night wasn't a big deal. I figured I'd find a generator and get it set up in the next few days, nothing too urgent. But then it hit me. The tons of ice cream I had left in the market freezers. Without thinking twice, I ran over there. I could have sworn I cleared this area just a couple of days ago. Where did all these zombies come from? Looks like I'll have to do some more clearing before I can get to that ice cream. I stuck to my usual strategy, walking backward, hitting the zombies, then stepping away, turning back, and repeating the cycle. It was a routine I have done many times before. But then, this happened. As I limped away, I somehow managed to bandage myself. But the whole time, only one thought ran through my mind: I'm going to die over ice cream. I had everything, plenty of food back at home, but I risked it all. For stupid ice cream. This is how I go. Over a goddamned ice cream. After clearing hopefully all of the zombies, I grabbed all the ice cream I could carry. I'd be stuffing myself with it over the next couple of days, both to help with healing the injury and to deal with my underweight trait. Even though scratches have a small chance of being fatal.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
I just wanted to end this day as soon as possible to see where I stood. I wrapped up the day by finishing my reading of Tailoring 1 and Electric 2, With my mind a bit more at ease, I called it a night. After 20 days of survival, I've learned valuable lessons about resource management, base building, and the ever-present danger of the undead. I faced countless challenges, from scavenging for supplies to almost losing it all over a moment of greed for ice cream. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like and subscribe for the next episode, where I'll continue my struggle to survive in this chaotic world. Thank you for watching and see you next time.